You know, I bet there's going to be some people who would say there's no way humanity changes this much in 200 years. But look at how fast we went from the first plane to going to the moon. Humanity does move fast with technology. And the advancement of super complex AI would, in theory, allow for a pretty fast progression. She wants to do the clapping cheeks maneuver. You might as well clap some robot cheeks. Probably gonna get killed in a few days. You might as well have something that looks like your dead wife. It's not a, you know, overall, since waking up, he's had a really bad track record with trusting people. Marrying the AI who's obsessed with you is starting to look better by the day. Now, based on some of the comments I saw last week, and already some of the comments I'm seeing after this latest episode of Dusk, some people are probably not going to vibe with this show. And I think the longer it goes on, if this is the style it goes for, we're going to see viewership for the show continue to... I'm not going to say it's going to nosedive right away, but it's going to tamper off as it goes on. I do get it, because even for myself, there's elements of this show that aren't vibing with me, and it really comes down to the silliness of it, because I think the show excels when it takes itself more seriously. Not to say that there hasn't been some funny moments, like when she's like Android explaining how her data core works, and she's like, hey, if you touch that, deal with the consequences, because she wants to jump his bones. Stuff like that's pretty funny, but the general, I guess, silliness of the central two characters is a little, like, off to me. I'm like, I get it, it's anime, a lot of this stuff happens. But despite maybe it not having a complete 100% landing all 3 episodes now, including episode 0, there's a lot to work with. The government and this, like, 200 years in the future, but it looks like it's a post-apocalyptic ruin. Technology is clearly advanced, but the government and everything, it's just, there's a lot to work with. And it's kind of funny too, because, like, one of the complaints I saw last week is that, like, the overly cartoonishly evil, like, government dog here, and, you know, I'm already seeing it again for this episode, because it seems like the whole government is just run by, like, extra flamboyant, cartoonishly evil characters. And it's really funny, because that's the one element of cringe that I can kind of accept, because every day you turn on the news, there's an elected official doing cartoonishly evil shit. Like, we're beyond the point of saying that's not realistic, so I can accept that. Though I will admit, seeing, like, a Johnny Bravo looking motherfucker mixed with Roswell from ReZero visually is a little jarring when you have this, like, beautiful post-apocalyptic world. But the question remains, should we be concerned after episode 2 of the show that it's not going to live up to maybe the expectations we as a community has? Maybe, but I don't think it's time to completely sound the alarms and we gotta jump ship. For me, still an enjoyable episode. The action last week, fantastic, and there's a lot of emotional storytelling and a lot of really cool theories we're going to be able to do. It's just, it does feel like this will be a show that it has a bit of a tug of war of its identity. Is it more serious? Is it more silly? And depending on how it lands by the end, yeah, my opinion could go from it was an enjoyable show with a lot of issues to it was a pretty enjoyable show with a few issues. So I guess we'll see. Now, make sure you drop a like on this video, help show your support, subscribe if you're new around here, and of course Patreon is where you catch my full live reactions, all this more if you also want to help fund the channel and videos just like this. So last week, some pretty good theories, and you know, you can't say like, oh, people read the source material. It's an anime original, right? Didn't think about it, but in episode 0, that AI that they had in their life, right, probably is who we're dealing with here. Now, physically looks identical to dead ex-wife, which dead ex-wife may not actually be dead. I'll get to that later. But what's interesting is it's not just this one that we're dealing with. Seemingly, the really high-tech androids all look like their creator, dead wife. So that's interesting. So at first, what I thought was happening from my own interpretation last week was like, oh, you know, maybe she uploaded her consciousness to AI and, you know, that's why. But yeah, it definitely feels to me that, like, given, if you think of some of the stuff in episode 0, there probably was already feelings there from that AI towards him. So now that she's in this body, I think that's probably what's happening. But either way, the fact that it's not just her with her own face, like it's seemingly all the androids, is a really interesting addition. She did leave her boy a message, which is nice. At first, I was like, how in God's name did his Apple Watch survive Armageddon? But if he was cryostasis in a tube, yeah, it probably makes sense. So she feels guilty. I mean, granted, she probably did cause Armageddon, all things considered, but she mentions how "don't come and find me." Did she freeze herself? Did she upload herself? Something like that's probably happening. You know, there's some criticisms I initially had as a gut reaction that I took back, such as him getting flustered around this robot. Bro, you just came out of the stasis pod. Your wife's dead, you know, you should be. But then I was like, wait a second. She physically looks like her. Like, he's putting up the barrier. I ain't marrying you. I'm not moving on from my ex here. But yeah, I still get maybe a little hot and bothered because you physically look like her. I can actually give that one a pass. It's just, there is an element of cringe. An element of anime cringe you see in a lot of shows. It's just, when you have a post-apocalyptic series, I do think in general, you do want to have a little humor to help alleviate the tension at times. And that's why, like I said at the beginning, the whole, like, if you touch my chest, you gotta buy it, basically. Like, it's a silly thing, but it worked for my humor. But it's just the overly, like, tee-hee, we're teenagers, and it's just, I don't know, like, there's just the general banter with them is a little too high school drama for me. Not in the way that it's, like, drama, like, they're bickering, but just, like, are really acting like we're turbo virgins here, like, what's going on? That I'm not a huge fan of. We get introduced to this girl who I assume is going to be traveling with us based on the opening. She ends up betraying us because she's trying to protect banned books, which PA Works has got to be trying to tell you something here. Love it. But yeah, like, this is now the second time in 2 episodes we've been betrayed. First time from, like, a village guy, and now from the girl who we wanted to help. To be honest, both of their betrayals, I can't really blame them. I mean, from the village point of view, you're scared of the government, you don't want to die, you thought you were doing the right thing, nor did you think he was going to get killed or exiled. So, yeah, you made a mistake, but, you know, maybe morally wrong, but, you know, logically right. And for her, I mean, she feels bad, I get it, and I doubt she's going to try to betray us again, and she immediately let us retreat, so I mean, props to her. Gonna be some good stuff there. So it's like, it's almost like 60% of the ideas I see here, I really enjoy. And then the other 40%, I don't hate, but I got more issues with than positive vibes. It's just going off of criticisms I saw even with last week. You know, a lot of people like, I'm not even super big into action shows. Like, it's just going to feel like action, or it's a little too ridiculous. But, like, I think episode 1 is the strongest episode out of the batch. I think it shows a better understanding of what the show's going to look like. And I guess I just hope future episodes feel a little more similar to that and a little less similar to episode 2. Because while episode 2 does have some great ideas, if more episodes release and I start feeling more and more like, okay, it's a more silly show than I think it should be, especially given that you've lost everything. Like, even say his wife is alive. The world as he knew it and friends and loved ones as he knew it are dead. We shouldn't just immediately be too chipper about this. Yes, I'm sure some people just have that type of personality, but I'm also okay to say I'm not a huge fan of that. Overall, though, I think you're probably going to see more criticism this week than even last week. And last week did have a decent amount. Of course, there was a lot of excitement, myself included. But I think as the weeks go on, if this is the type of show, we're going to see more and more people be like, is this even for me? I do think I'm going to enjoy this one all the way to the home stretch. But I think at the rate it's going, I wouldn't be surprised if I come out here saying, yeah, it's not really an 8 out of 10 like I thought it was going to end as. Maybe it's closer to a 6 or a 7. It really depends on how they stick the landings of a lot of the different ideas. But if they keep the theory crafted going, I think we could still have a really good watch. So right now, I'd say be mildly concerned, but probably don't completely jump ship if you're terrified right now. I think we still got potential here. Let me know your thoughts down below, though. Drop a like, share your support, subscribe if you're new around here, and Patreon is where I catch my full live reactions to all this and more. Like, hey, I also like to give video shoutouts to my patrons. So today we got Alex, Corey Sami Fan, Powwolf, Ale, Kamozo Beat, Samuel Salde. We also got Konoko1110. So I appreciate the support. Please take care and y'all have a good one.